When someone comes up and says something like, I am a God, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a God. Would it have been better if I had a song that said, I am a nigga? Or if I had a song that said, I'm a gangster? Or if I had a song that said, I am a pimp? But to say you are a God, especially when you got shipped over to the country that you're in and your last name is a slave owner's. How could you say that?
You know, they feel like, yo, you know, he's got a God complex because he said if they wrote the Bible again, he would be in it. Duh, yeah, I would be in it. I feel like I'm one of the more important people, you know, in pop culture right now. You know, at the end of the day, I'm going down as a legend, whether or not you like me or not. I am the new Jim Morrison. I am the new Kurt Cobain. The Bible had, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 characters in it. You don't think I would be one of the characters of today's modern Bible?
I'm sure at some point of our lives, we all have encountered someone with a God complex. And if you're into the celebrity world and all of that, you know a couple with a God complex. We could say, not to be a punching bag, but Diddy is one of those people that had the God complex, right?
I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get out. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
That clip is the clip that keeps on giving. I keep using it in all my videos because, wow, there's no more display of every term that you could have in the book that he shows. He definitely has a God complex, but you guys that are watching may have a little bit of God complex in you too. And in this channel, it's all about growing up and leveling up internally, mentally, spiritually, and physically also, which means holding a mirror to ourselves, reflecting, and growing, okay? So I want you guys to hold a mirror to yourself, and we're going to get through these, not just to spot them in yourself, but to spot them in others and how we can overcome. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Crean Elude Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, I love this question that is posed. I'm going to read it from, in my research, I got this from verywell.com. It asks, have you ever felt like a god surrounded by mortals? God complexes can affect your perception of yourself and the way you treat other people without you even realizing it. It can be tough to acknowledge when you have a God complex, but it's possible. When you have a God complex, you might feel like you're the most intelligent person in the room. It can also be tough to give up control to other people or place any trust in them. Examine your behaviors and the way you communicate with others, okay? Now, I'll say this. Just from that alone, I've dealt with God complex with myself. I used to always feel like I was smarter than everybody in the room. Whenever it was a project, I had to take control and do the project myself. And I'll just give you guys, I'll put your names on it because they're not going to do it like I can. If there was something to be done, I would rather do it because nobody's going to get it done like I can get it done. I know how to get it done, which is why to this day, I'll do my own hair, my own makeup, everything. I just don't feel like anybody can do what I can do the way I want it done, if that makes sense. The Lord has humbled me a lot, okay? And he has taught me this is not a good thing to have, Kareen. People are always, there's always gonna be somebody smarter than you and you're gonna have to learn from them. It was a journey and I had to go through that a lot. I had to go through that a lot. I was humbled in many ways. And I told you guys in several other videos, now I brag about my ignorance and ignorance is just the lack of knowledge in a field. So I love when I'm not the smartest person in the room and I'm ignorant about something because I'm now open to learning. And that is a humble spirit. You cannot serve God and have a God complex because you're going to think you're smarter than God. You know better than he. You're going to ask questions where God even say, hey, my ways are higher than your ways. My thinking is beyond what you can even think. And you have to relinquish that aspect of yourself. And this is what it means to be like a child or else you won't see the kingdom of heaven because children know they don't know everything. They rely on their parents who is that figure that knows everything more than them. And that's how it's supposed to be with God. And once you like that with God, God shows you how you need to chill and be that way with others also. And understand that you are limited and that you don't know everything and don't be a know-it-all. So if you keep lying to yourself and believing that you don't have this and that you're not struggling with this, you're not really going to ever learn, or excel, if that makes sense. What is the first one? Is feelings of grandiosity. The biggest sign of a God complex is an inflated sense of self. Can you work with others, or do you expect everyone to follow your lead no matter what? It is a good thing to have confidence, but a sense of grandiosity can lead to feelings more special and important than everyone else, and the expectation to be treated accordingly. If you find yourself telling stories and exaggerating things in your life, you have a God complex. If you're trying to make yourself sound bigger than what you do, your accomplishments are over dramatized, and you're just find yourself making things bigger than what they are, you have that grandiosity, that over exaggeration of your accomplishments. And if someone dare contradicts that image that you set out for yourself or the stories that you've told about yourself, you lash out. If someone questions or disbelieves, or that perception that you have of yourself, that ideology of your life and your intelligence, you can't take criticism when someone corrects you. You take it personally, like, who are you? And you're just a hater. You don't know me. So people who suffer with that cannot take criticism. They do not like their image and how they see themselves to be tarnished. They see themselves in this halo effect, and you cannot ruin that fantasy world that they have for themselves. You just cannot. You are the biggest enemy and threat if you do that. The second one is a lack of empathy, meaning you just cannot relate to others, or you don't feel the energies of other people, right? Empathy is your ability to recognize and understand other people's feelings. It means putting yourself in another person's shoes and imagining how they feel. God complexes make it difficult to show compassion or consider other people's feelings. When you have a complex, you may get so focused on your own life that it's hard to notice what others are dealing with. You just cannot relate. And everything they're saying is just like, oh, like if you ever seen someone with a God complex, like look at the Cassie situation that's going on. A lot of these men that's been speaking out, these celebrity men, have a lot of God complexes. They cannot put themselves in the shoes of women who have been battered, or even other women. To them, it's just like there's a lack of empathy. It's just, why didn't you leave? I would have left. I would have left. People like that have a lack of empathy. I always try to say, put yourself in their scenario. How would you act? And even if you think that you would act a way, you won't act that way. I've been in positions where I thought I had the quickest of reflexes, and I would be, and then I'm driving and I freeze in the midst of danger. And I'm standing there like, what happened, you know? And I thought I would never freeze. But you don't know how you would react during a circumstance until you're in that circumstance. You just don't know. So it's best to not speak and assume. And that helps to have empathy for people. Why did they stay? Did they feel like they couldn't leave, there was no way out, etc. Next is inconsiderate behavior and bullying. Do you put people down to make yourself feel better? Bullying can be a defense mechanism when you feel threatened. A God complex can make you feel like other people are challenging you when they're just coexisting. Everyone makes mistakes, but you might have a God complex if others have accused you of doing mean things more often than not. Inconsiderate behavior meaning if everyone is sleeping in the house, but you're up, you don't move quietly. People like that, it's like the world revolves around them. They talk, a lot. Like children, they say we're all born with somewhat of a God complex, and we learn with age to get out of it. Because if you've been around children, when they're up, the whole house is up. But if the whole house is sleeping, you got to wake up to go to work at 3 a.m. and you're up and you're closing every kitchen door, you're loud, you're on the phone, you're this, you're not caring about anyone else that's sleeping. That is a God complex, my friend. That is a God complex. You need to be considerate of everyone else. Or if everyone wants McDonald's, but you want Chick-fil-A, and there's 6 people in the car that want McDonald's, but you want Chick-fil-A, regardless, you just like, we're having Chick-fil-A. And that's just that. And then you go. It's like, okay. So in consideration with people, you do things on your terms, what feels right for you. Bullying, meaning you belittle people around you. You want to lower their self-esteem so that you could be the one in the group or in the circle that is the most confident and all of that jazz. Next is having an intense need for praise. God complexes make it challenging to validate yourself without external praise. Do you need others to praise your work, actions, appearance, or other aspects of your life? Even with feelings of grandiosity and entitlement, a God complex will still an extreme need for validation and praise to feel like you've accomplished something or enjoy your success. Do you ever compliment other people just because you can? God complexes also tend to result in one-sided relationships since praise is given but rarely returned. Additionally, do you get upset if someone doesn't praise you when you thought they would? Feeling underappreciated is never fun, but with a God complex, the like praise can feel like betrayal. People that always feel underappreciated, I question them a lot. Like, why do you feel underappreciated? What are the things that make you feel underappreciated? Because oftentimes I find the people that complains the most about feeling underappreciated do tend to have a God complex, and that's where that comes from. It's not really that they're underappreciated. They just have a level of expectation for praise that they're not really receiving. And once they stop receiving what they expected to get from that praise, it's like, oh, I don't appreciate me, this and that, blah, 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 blah. You have to be so content with yourself that even if no one complimented you, you're good, you know? I'm good. I don't need someone to stay in my ear and be like, oh, good work, good work, good work, for me to feel like I did good work. But people with God complexes, they don't feel like their work is good unless they're told. And if they take criticism the worst, and this is where you could say with celebrities, Dorothy Dandridge stated that she could do a movie and get 1,000 positive reviews, but then she get one bad one, and that's the one she's stuck on. Naturally, as humans, we do that. I'll have a video and I'll get 1,000 positive comments, and that one negative one will keep you stuck. Once you start to heal and you eliminate that God complex from yourself, that one negative comment will mean nothing to you. You'll be so focused on the positive that it's just like water under the bridge. It won't even mean nothing to you. They take criticism very harsh. They take people not praising them, not making them feel like they're God's gift to man very, very hard. Next is exploitation of others. Consider yourself, think of Diddy. Consider your stance on relationships. Are they means to an end? Then ask yourself, how often do you think about how a situation can benefit you, but don't consider anything else. If you have a God complex, you may rely too much on other people to fulfill your needs and get upset with them when they can't or won't. They exploit people. They use people for everything that they have, even if they're not giving anything in return. And they're the type to suck you dry. They're leeches. They take everything from you. They're energy vampires. I did a video on energy vampires, which I'll pin in the comment section for you guys to check out. But they are energy vampires. They drain you of all your resources. You're tired. They use you up, spit you out dry. That's what God complexes do. But with you, do you find that when you're in a relationship or a friendship with someone, you're always looking at what they can do for you? Specifically women, we can do that often. When you're about to date, you try to think of how much can this guy do for me if I get with him? Can he elevate my status? What's the future? You're no longer looking at the person and love and the character and all of that stuff, but how much can I get out of this relationship? Same with men. What can I get? Will her be good? You know what I mean? It's always, what can I get from this? Or if you were friends with someone, what's their social status? You know, how much do they own? What can they do? What connections can I make? And this and that. It's not genuine. You don't or like them. And this is why I always say I don't rush into friendships. I make sure I like the person first. I watch them, I bond, and I make sure I like you. I don't want to ever be friends with someone because of what they can do for me or who they know, No. That is a God complex. And when you use people like that, guaranteed people will start to use you like that. Next is gaslighting. People with God complex gaslight a lot. They always make you believe that what you think it is not really what it is, even though it is what it is. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation that involves denying another person's version of events, sometimes even insisting they're crazy, lying, or exaggerating. Do you respect and validate other people's experiences, even when voicing concerns about you? If you have a God complex, you might mistakenly believe that your experience is the only correct one. Someone can tell you that, hey, you hurt me when you did da-da-da. No, I didn't. How are you going to tell me you didn't hurt me? Just ask me how. How are you going to tell me the feelings I felt and invalidate this? Or I was sad. I remember one time when I was going through my darkest stage of depression, I told a person that was a friend of mine that I'm depressed. I'm going through depression, just flat out. That's why I'm not going out as much. I just need some time to myself. I hope you can understand. You're not depressed. That's not depression. I know what depression is. You're not depressed yet. You don't have no problems. You're creating this in your head. I was like, how are you going to tell me what I'm feeling, what I'm going through? Excuse me? It was then that I knew. Okay. But people will really do that and validate and tell you what you're feeling, what you're seeing, how things are for you. It's not really what it is. It's gaslighting. People with God complexes will hurt you and tell you that they didn't hurt you. They will piss on you in the most, vulgar terms and tell you that it's rain. Literally. They will do that. That's not what it is. It's rain. Just terrible. So number 7 is isolating from other people. Do you feel like nobody understands you or thinks the same way you do? By itself, isolating isn't a surefire sign of a God complex. However, your reason for isolating can be a giveaway. If you tend to be solitary and avoid close friendships because you want to prove that you can succeed without anyone's help, that can indicate a God complex. Plenty of people isolate themselves for various mental health reasons, including depression, anxiety, and more. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have a God complex, but understand for yourself if you're doing it because you feel like nobody thinks like me, I'm so different, blah, blah, blah. There's people that literally think like that and they isolate themselves from everyone. They stay away from everyone, really believing that no one thinks like them. And it becomes, it's better to be in my own solitude than to be around others because I don't want to have to explain myself, blah, blah, blah. That being the most intelligent person in the room syndrome. Number 8 is lack of respect for boundaries. Think about your reaction when other people tell you what they want. Do you listen or disregard them? Healthy relationships are founded on clear communication of boundaries and respect. But a God complex can instill strong feelings of entitlement. You might have difficulty respecting boundaries because you assume everyone feels the same way you do. You can tell these people that have God complexes like a Diddy, I don't want to be touched. No, please. And they'll still touch you. They'll still touch you without your consent. They do not care for consent. They do not care for limits. You can tell the person, tell a friend, hey, can you not show up to my house unannounced? Some days I really want to be by myself. I have a lot of work to do. When people show up unannounced, this, that, and the third, and they still show up unannounced and show you that I don't care. Whatever I had going on is more important. Whatever services I needed from you at the moment at your house is way more important, and they show up anyways. No boundaries. It's them. You cannot have any kind of limits or boundaries for yourself. Those are people that you have to be really, really cautious with. Next is a string of unsuccessful relationships. All right. If it feels like when you talk to this person, they never seem to have relationships that just work out. They always fall out with friends. They fall out with family. They fall out with their own children. They fall out with strangers. There's always something going on, and they're always at the center of it. Nothing is a coincidence. You can't justify everything. And even when you tell them that, why are you always falling out with people? They tend to be the defensive ones. Even in the comments, when I do videos like this, when I say, if you're always at the center of trouble and everyone don't like you, always isolate because there's that, you need to work on yourself. They'll always be telling, there's a lot of reasons why, Karita. People with God complexes can't be honest with themselves. They cannot be honest with themselves. They see it as, you don't understand. This is really my life. I know I fell out with 30 people in 1 month, but it literally was their fault. It's like, sis, everyone can't hate you. You got to start asking yourself. There was someone that said that if everyone stops helping you, I noticed that there was people that I knew that even their own family wouldn't want to help them. They wouldn't want to help them financially or I don't know, with whatever they were going on. There wouldn't be a listening ear when their relationships were souring. I'm like, dang, not even your family, not even your friends, nobody. We're not even that close and you coming to me. Why are you coming to me? Where's the people in your life? And I realized, I got to be careful. If no one else wants to loan them money, they've burned a lot of bridges. There's people that you're their last resort and you don't know them that well and they come. There was someone I knew that was asked to be a best man to a wedding, where it's like, I was asked to be the best man. I don't even know him like that because he's burned all the bridges with the people that he was friends with. You have to ask yourself with that person, why? Why? That's a little strange, right? Just ask yourself that. Next is refusal to take responsibility. Do you feel like you ever make mistakes? Do you apologize when someone says you've hurt their feelings? If not, you might have a God complex. A lot of people don't like to admit they're wrong. Apologizing is something that you have to have no ego. You have to eliminate your ego to be able to do. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. It comes with a lot, right? But people that don't like to apologize, they have a lot of excuses. Why? I'm very weary of them. I'm very, very weary of them. A sign that you have a God complex is when you find it very difficult to apologize, to just say, sorry, my bad, I mistake, and genuinely mean it. Don't just say sorry to keep the peace, to do this, but like actually think about, what did you do? If you find yourself always being the one getting apologized to and you're never apologizing, you might have to ask, in these scenarios, was there a place that I could apologize? Why is everyone always apologizing to me and I'm not apologizing to anyone? Ask yourself that, because people with God complexes never see they're wrong. Of course, how to, erase the God complex is to realize first you have a problem. My favorite quote is, you can't heal if you don't know you're sick. You must first know that you're sick. If someone you're dealing with that has a God complex, I'm not saying not to deal with them, because we can't just not deal with these people all the time if it's not in your choice. But once you recognize it, you're better able to not get sucked into it or get manipulated. Like I said, people with God complex, they go through and burn all the bridges in their life and they come and try to attach themselves to you. But once you see they have a God complex, you can kind of block that attachment. If you catch my drift, it's yourself, start to practice empathy, feeling for other people. Watch emotional shows and really try to feel what it would be like to be in that person's shoes. Pray about it even. Pray, of course, first. Pray about it. That, hey, I want to not feel so superior. I feel like the most uneducated people, and I'm not talking book smarts. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about education is a spiritual thing to me. It's a social thing. But people that put themselves in environments that are unfamiliar often and try to be empathetic in different environments. You travel, you talk to different people, you learn different languages, cultures, you read books a lot. They tend to be a little bit more compassionate, empathetic, and they can understand the psyche of others. Be a student of psychology and the mind. You kind of eliminate that God complex the more you learn about others. I'm not talking about things and science and all of that, but people, to have a genuine love for people and to try to understand people and to know and have a genuine knowledge of God. To know God is to know love. And once you know love and you have love, it's very easy for you to be compassionate with other people, to be empathetic. But a lot of people, they don't know God and they don't know love, right? So I'd say work with that in your daily life and try to really understand how to heal from. I guarantee you, it does nothing for you but repel people away from you. People with God complexes live miserable lives, and you tend to end up being a horrible person that no one wants to be around. Of course, you don't have to identify with all of these traits. Like for me, feeling like the smartest person in the room, that I want to do everything myself, was the one that I identified with. And I knew that it was still a big thing because I would get burnout a lot. And then it developed some kind of people pleasing in the sense that because I felt like I could do it better anyways, I'd volunteer myself. And then people became used to that and expected it, even when I didn't want to volunteer myself, whether I didn't have time or whatever the case may be, it was too late. People now expect that from me, and then I have to come through. It was just bad. But there's no good thing that comes out of having a God complex. But this is all I have for this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Comment below what other videos you guys would like from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, leave a purple flower or a purple heart in the comments for me. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's some purple flower action going on here. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Until next time. Bye.